another review today. It's going to be a third knife review, and this time I'm showcasing the Buck Bantam. Okay, this is the Bantam, the one with the 3 1/8 inch blade. I think they call it like the BLW or something like that. There's two different Buck Bantam models. Um, Man, I just love Buck knives. I really do. I've only had 3 Buck knives in my life, and I haven't had this one long. I'm not gonna lie in any of my reviews. It's going to be like how I would write a review for for a site that sells these knives. This is kind of my lazy way of doing that, by the way. Um, Rather than write a review to try to help consumers, I'm just going to make a video with one. It's easier for me, and I think if it all goes well, it takes less time. But I think it's also more enjoyable for people who are looking for this knife, or looking at this knife, I should say. I um, I just received this not long ago at all. It was a gift, and but it was a gift that I kind of picked. And I don't feel like with something like this, I really need to have it for a long time, or I need to beat it up to tell you how it's going to be, because I have enough experience with this. I've carried knives since I'm just shy of 30 now, and I've carried knives literally since I was probably about 15 years old, 16 years old. Started with cheap knives, and eventually realized that it was worth it to spend the money on knives. I started getting name brands, first name brands that you would find at Walmart. Then I started, buying knives that you would find at sporting goods stores, and then of ordering them online, things I couldn't find locally, and it just grew. And I've been collecting knives for a long time now, and out of the 3 Buck knives I've had, I have really liked all of them. I don't remember the model of the original one that I had. I had it years ago when I was a teenager. It was so sharp. It had such a sharp tip on there. I let a girlfriend use it at the time, and she ended up breaking the tip off by trying to pry a door open with it. Totally abusing it, obviously. I was pissed. And then not a couple years ago, maybe 3 years ago, I ended up buying the the Buck Nighthawk, I think it's called, which goes in their tactical series. And I thought that was such a cool looking knife. One thing I really wasn't sure about it was it has the plastic handle on it, and I'll do a review of that someday. And I was really kind of worried about the plastic handle on it, if it was going to fall apart, and it ended up being excellent. I really like that knife, and way better than the price is. I mean, I'm saying it's way better quality than the price would maybe lead you to believe, or than the plastic looking handle would lead you to believe. So when I seen this knife on clearance at the store for $20, normally 25. One thing that has always kept me, I've really liked the 2 Buck knives I've had before this one, but has really kept me from buying another Buck knife, was that they always Buck pocket knives always seem to have short blades, like 2 2 3/4 inch blades. And for me, I kind of have like a 3 inch minimum carry length. I won't carry anything that's shorter than like 3 inches as a primary blade, unless it's like on a multi-tool. And a lot of Buck knives are just short, and I don't know why. Especially they used to be. It seems like now they're coming out with longer ones, but for a long time, all I could ever find was like 2 2 1/2 or 2 3/4 inch blades on Bucks, and that kept me from buying them. The first thing when I opened it up, the knife is actually genuinely hair shaving sharp. It really is, and will demonstrate. And I didn't sharpen this knife at all. And I don't know if any of this is going to show up on the camera, but see my hairs on there? I mean, look, they're just, I mean, see the skin, and hopefully you can see the hairs. I mean, it will shave me. It's hair shaving sharp. It really is, right out of the package, and that is kind of a rare thing when you buy knives nowadays. And I didn't sharpen this. I didn't do anything to it. It's just, and actually, this one and the other buck pocket knife I had were both that way. And the Nighthawk, I don't know if it was hair shaving, but it was pretty damn sharp too. Um, the other thing is that I noticed right away. The first thing I noticed when I picked it up out of the package was, and I actually had bought this with the purpose of maybe like using it as a backpacking knife for like utility work. A long time ago, one of the first hikes I went on, actually, I have the video up in Allegheny State Park, and I think even in a Rattlesnake Hill hike I did before that, I carried a Gerber Gator, which is, I really like that knife as well, on my belt. And what happened was the Allegheny hike ended up being 12 miles long, and by about 6 miles, the Gerber Gator is, even though it's just a pocket knife, it's a folder, it's a lockback, it felt heavy. And what's funny is I used to watch a certain person who was always complaining about weight of this and that, whatever, and I would generally agree with them, like this item is too heavy to carry, that item is too heavy to carry, but they would go on about knives, and I'd be like, well, a knife is such a small thing. How much does a pocket knife weigh, anyways? And kind of like brush it off. And I went hiking with the Gerber Gator. We ended up doing 12 miles, which was like 4 extra miles than we had planned on. And by about 6 miles, I was hating the Gerber Gator that was hanging on my belt, because I had that, and I had like 2 other things hanging on my belt at the same time. And it was just way too heavy, and even to go in my pack. The first thing I noticed about this guy, the Bantam, is, man, this thing is light, and it has nothing but plastic liners. And the liners are the handle here, the frame is nylon, fiberglass reinforced nylon, and I have actually totally avoided plastic handle knives. Um, I just really have avoided them intentionally, because the plastic handle knives I've always had in the past were cheap knives, and they felt cheap, and they broke, and they didn't hold up, and I kind of always attributed that the plastic handles with cheap knives. Well, when I seen this one, I was willing to take a chance on it, because I knew it was going to be light, and I was looking for an option, like I said, something that I could hike with that I wouldn't even know that I was carrying. Um, even if I'm just going on a day hike, because I don't carry like a really large knife on a day hike. It's just too heavy, and it just takes the fun out of it, and I don't enjoy it. But I would like to have a knife. Even on a day hike, that I'm not planning on doing a fire, I'm not planning on doing anything. I would just like to have a knife just in case. Just not even for protection, just for, who knows? Maybe I'll have to cut some, you know, I have no idea. Maybe I'll have to cut something for some reason. And I would just like to have the knife on me, and I'm just kind of used to carrying a pocket knife anyways. And this just fits the bill so perfectly. When I pulled it out of the package, it just was so light. I was like, wow. And this is like over a 3-inch blade, which isn't huge, but it meets my requirement. This has to be my lightest 3-inch blade that I have, and I have many different knives. Um, like I said, I always avoid the plastic frames, so there may be some other plastic framed options out there that I'm not aware of. But this knife is light, and I really like the shape of it. I like the way it looks. I like that it looks cool to me, which is something that I always do factor in, because these are things I'm going to be looking at every day, I'm going to be holding every day. The next thing I noticed was when I opened it up, man, this knife locks up so solid and so nice. It just really does. It locks up strong and solid, and it doesn't wiggle. It does, I could wiggle a little bit, side to side this way, but just a little bit, and front to back doesn't wiggle at all. Not, I mean, I have a lot of different knives, and most of them lock up pretty good, but this one just seems to really lock up well, exceptionally well, I think. And maybe it's just the one that I got. Maybe they don't all do that. Because it's not like I tried 3 or 4 different ones and they all did that. I only can speak for this one, but it just really locks up well. It's so light, and the handles are actually, like I said, fiberglass, reinforced nylon, which I think is gonna be stronger than the cheaper plastic ones that you find on a $2 knife. Um, I don't think it's gonna break, and I just see this being an excellent, excellent, excellent camping and hiking knife. I really, really like it a lot. Um, the blade is made out of, I think it's 410 HC stainless, which for me, for like a utility knife, for for camping or for outdoors, it basically has to be stainless. And this just fits the bill for me perfectly, and it's made in the USA, and you can't beat that. The Buck Bantam